Alright, legends, welcome back to the show. Now we're going to get into He-Man and the Masters of the Universe right now, back to the early 80s, the original run, with an episode called DREE ELL'S Return. This here was one of those episodes where you're kind of thinking, right, this is going to be more annoying than entertaining, because it's Orko heavy. Now, I like Orko as a character, but he can get in your nerves. And I know why he's there. Like, I'm a grown up man now. I'm 40 plus years old. I'm at the age now where I don't even want to think about how old I am. But this character for a grown up can be quite annoying. Up until the Kevin Smith series that he brought out really put Orko into a real hero role. But in this one he's more annoying than hero, but he does have his moments. And this is one of these episodes where it's not just Orko heavy, it's Orko and his family heavy. And DREE Elle is not family, but she's a love interest of Orko. And basically, at the beginning of this episode, the Horn of Evil, stolen from Trolla, which is Orko's home planet, and DREE Elle returns to Eternia to warn Orko of the danger, with her little brother Yuckers. He's came with them, and he's one of these little pranksters that's always playing tricks on people, and he's just beyond annoying in this episode, but it tells the story well. So when the horn was stolen from Trolla, it was stolen by Trapjaw and a new character. That this was his first appearance in this episode. It was a character called Clawful. Brilliant name. He's like what way would you describe him? He's got claws for hands, essentially, and he's like a creature, let's just say. Great name. Claws for hands. He's called Clawful. Of course, he's an evil character, so he's also awful. So claws and awful, you get Clawful. That's the kind of like the naming pattern in these old shows. Absolutely brilliant. So they return to Eternia, and they're using, of course, it's always Castle Grayskull they're trying to get into, so they go there and blow the horn, and basically when you blow into this horn, it just releases sheer evil out of it. And of course the sorceress is there. She's going to try and use her magic to counteract the power of the horn, but it's too strong for her, and incapacitates her, essentially. Orko, DREE Elle, Yuckers managed to get to Castle Grayskull too late to help the sorceress, but early enough so they can steal the horn back from Trapjaw and Clawful. He-Man doesn't make an appearance at this point as far as that part of the story is concerned. He's more has got his hands full with a meteor shower at the beginning of the episode too, so him and Man-at-Arms are off to save a city from this meteor shower. There's only 3 meteors coming down. They're at the city of Colmay, and Attack Track takes out 2 of them, but the third one hits one of the buildings in the town, knocks it over, but He-Man, being the strongest man in the universe, manages to push the tower back up into position, and everybody's saved, and they make a return back towards the Castle Grayskull and the royal palace. Teela is off in the Mystic Mountains with the king and queen at the beginning of the episode, but she makes a return to whenever everything kicks off with this horn. When Orko and DREE Elle manage to steal the horn back from Clawful and Trapjaw, Clawful's more the main villain in this episode. His first appearance, he's kind of like the main villain out of 2 of them. He's kind of pulling the strings of Trapjaw. While they're making their escape, they lose track of Yuckers, and they see this claw hand out of the undergrowth in the evergreen forest. That scares them, but it turns out to be Yuckers. and he laughs and whatnot. And DREE ELL'S always apologising for his behaviour. He's just having fun. He doesn't mean any bad by it. But Orko's like, that's all fine and well, but one of these days his jokes is really going to get himself and everybody else into a heck of a lot of trouble. So you know what they're setting it up for in this episode. At this point, shortly after that, they see a similar sort of claw arm out of the undergrowth again. Of course, Orko is like, I can't believe Yuckers is trying this joke on us again, and he goes in a bad mood towards the hand that turns out to be indeed Clawful hiding on there. So they're captured at this point, and Clawful and Trapjaw are going to use the magic of the horn again to turn the evergreen forest into a forest of evil, essentially. But Orko manages to use his magic to steal the horn once again, minimise it, and hide it inside his hat. And of course, if you know this character, since he opens that hat, you get just anything come out of it. So they're trying to shake the horn out of him, holding him upside down, shaking him and whatnot, and all this stuff's falling out of his hat. It's like the TARDIS. It's like the inside of Doctor Who's TARDIS. It's bigger than the inside and the outside. Goodness knows what you're going to find in there. And Clawful gets his hand caught in a bear trap. They don't manage to get hold of the horn, but the heroes turn up on the scene at this point, and Tila turns up first, shortly followed thereafter by, that's a way of speaking I have never used and don't intend to use again, shortly thereafter, by He-Man. And the fight starts between the heroes and the villains, and they do eventually manage to take out Clawful and Trapjaw. Even Yuckers gets in there with his hand buzzer, manages to take Trapjaw down with that, and DREE ELL'S uses her magic to tie him up. Orko takes out some of the flying robots, make a little appearance in this episode again. Orko manages to find a magnet that he had hidden in his hat and takes out two of them by using the magnetic power to suck them across and destroy them. So at this point you think, okay, evil has been punished, good has won. But at this point, Yuckers' tricks come back in a major way to kick him in the backside. You kind of thought the comeback was whenever Orko had mistaken this clawed hand to be something that Yuckers was doing, but it turned out to be Clawful. That's where you thought that the payoff of his bad behaviour was coming, but it's not. It's the end of the episode, close to the end of the episode, when a bag of sneezing powder that he has hidden in his own hat, a trick that he used earlier in Orko in the episode to make him sneeze. Yuckers has hold of the horn at this point. Turns out Orko had hidden the horn inside Yuckers' hat, and the bag of sneezing powder pops out while Yuckers is holding the horn. He pretended that he was going to blow it, but it was like, that was another trick. And I was only going to pretend to blow it. But this bag of sneezing powder drops, hits the ground, and of course he starts to sneeze, and as he's sneezing he activates the horn, and all of the evergreen forest starts to get transformed into this evil forest that Clawful and Trapjaw were trying to bring on, and all hell breaks loose in the episode. The trees change, all the animals in there change, the beasts basically. There's like a kangaroo turns into this demon sort of kangaroo sort of a thing, and Battle Cat is fighting with that. A demon appears from inside of the horn, rushes He-Man, but he manages to kind of take him out pretty quick. But then the ground splits apart and this giant hand comes up, and the hand is big enough that He-Man could actually stand up inside the palm of the hand. Like, he's trying to push it back into the ground before whatever's this hand's attached to comes out, and he's like, I would hate to see the rest of this guy. While this is going on, how are we going to get out of this one? Orko gets a psychic message from the sorceress, who's now recovered, and he tells Orko that the song on the horn can stop everything. So DREE finds this music that's attached to the horn, a sheet of music, and she tries to sing the song that's on it, but the horn is making too much noise. She's getting drowned out. So He-Man comes up with the idea that DREE and Orko should sing the song together as loud as they can, and he'll try to blow into the other end of the horn to quieten it down enough so that the song can be heard and the magic be fought against. So they sing the song, He-Man's blown into the horn, and the forest starts to return back to normal. Everything that was evil starts to transform back into good. And yes, just everything that was released from the horn throughout the episode is disappeared by the end of it. So that's pretty much it for the episode. We get a closing sequence where Orko was telling the king what had happened and how they got out of it and all the help they got. And they got, we wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for the help of almost everybody, meaning yuckers. And I should say there's this magic pyramid that DREE used, belongs to Orko, that transported her from her own planet to Eternia, and that's used at the end to return back home again. So they're having this little celebration, and Orko, as a sign of thanks, gives DREE a hat, a magic hat similar to his, that can do all the same tricks. And Battle Cat is like, well, she's in real trouble now. And Yuckers is like, what about me? What about me? He's a selfish little character. What do I get? And Orko's like, well, even though you don't deserve it, I've got one for you too. And he gives him this magic hat, and when he tries to put it on, he's dunked in water, and he's not happy. He's complaining, what do you do that for? And Orko was like, just wanted you to see what it's like whenever somebody plays a trick on you. And Yuckers is like, it's no fun whenever I'm the person on the receiving end of it. And he learns his lesson by the end of the episode, that his tricks and that there can get him into trouble, and it's not so much fun whenever it's turned around on you. So yes, we do have, as usual, a little moral story at the end of the episode. In case you missed the point of it, this was a kids show after all, and they did make a point at the end of every episode to just take a moment just to, you just had an entertaining episode of good versus evil, and we have a story in here, and the moral of the story is this, and one of the main characters within the show will break the fourth wall, speak to the viewer, tell him what it is, and this one is Orko, and he tells the viewer that in today's story you saw what happened when Yucker sneezed and accidentally blew into the horn of evil. He was just playing around and didn't mean to do anything wrong, but the end results were just as bad. Of course, there aren't any horns of evil in your house, but there are many things that can be just as dangerous. People may have been hurt because they were careless and played with things like knives and matches and glasses and tools. So as He-Man always tells me, playing is fine, but play it safe. So, there's two morals to the story there. You had that as the main moral of the story, but then you also had the character that was constantly playing tricks on people, getting the wake-up call that, just because it's all fun and games doesn't mean you're not going to get yourself or anybody else into trouble. A lot of stuff in this episode, so you could almost have had two morals at the end of that episode. You could have had Orko telling that one, and then you could have had DREE popping up and saying, my little brother was a complete ass in this episode, and he learned his lesson. So I'm really enjoying this series so much. It's coming up close to the end of it. We're on the last DVD of the run of the original series. DREE's return. How many episodes we got left after this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 more episodes. We'll get this finished off, and then we're going to continue on with He-Man and some of the spin-off shows, and we'll just keep doing it the way I've been doing it with this series. So we're going to be trying to do it not every day, but we're going to be going daily on the review channel here, and we're going to be bouncing off a few of the classic things. Of course, we're not just doing He-Man, but we're also into the season 2 of Generation 1 of Transformers, and I've got a new series that we're going to start the day after. So for the foreseeable future, as far as classic stuff goes, you're going to have He-Man, Transformers, and then another show that we're going to get into after that. So if you are interested in all this classic stuff from the 80s and before the 80s, that's the only thing I'm going to tell you about this horror series we get into. It's well before the 80s, and it has been running for a long time. So if you can figure out what that is, leave it in the comments below this video or the podcast. Let me know your thoughts. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. Until the next one, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all then.